Hey everyone, this is Jana Nascimento Nagasi from Your Jana on Camera, and today you're gonna watch the video from an interview that I did with director and writer Guy Moshe for LX 2048. I hope you guys enjoy. It's a pleasure to be talking to you. It's Guy Moshe, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay, so I'm correct because I was like, it's Moshe. We never know.
No, Moshe, it's like you're saying it like it's you know what funny is like it's even hard for me in English to say my family name correctly because in Hebrew you kind of you say it much faster. So it's like people ask me how to pronounce my name and I'm talking to them in English and I'm sometimes mispronouncing my own name. But yeah, it's exactly the way you said it is correct. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. And I watched the movie. I was like, oh my God, 2048 is not that far from 2020.
no, no,
So,
unfortunately for us, no.
yes. And I want to know like why was like the inspiration for the script, and because it's so timely, the
You know,
story, everything.
it's I wrote this the first draft in 2016, so obviously I couldn't anticipate that would be especially in LA. I don't know if are you in LA as well, or
Yes,
like
I'm
yeah,
in.
so here it feels like between the hottest weekend in recorded history to the air quality going bad to everything else to my kids studying on Zoom. It's just crazy. But um I actually started from the human aspect of it. Like for me, the genesis of the idea came from seeing a lot of people around me getting ugly divorces and ugly separations in a matter of a year that was leading up to writing the script. And I remember, it felt almost like there's a season where like all of the people that were in your social circle that were also kind of married and had kids and all that stuff were like everything was going up in flames around you. And I was trying to find a common thread in those stories because it was interesting to me that this was going on. And there are two things that jumped at me. The first was that no matter if it's the man or the woman or like both or whatever, like it all felt like adults were kind of reaching a place in their life where they suddenly reflect a little bit about where they are, and all of them feeling like they haven't fulfilled their potential, or like they haven't lived up to some promise, or that suddenly life is not what they thought it was going to be when they were younger or something like this. And so that was one common thread in all of these stories. And the other thing that seems very clear to me is that it had something to do with the times we're in, like with the technological revolution that we're undergoing as we speak, where I feel like one of the weird things that happened with the internet is that it allowed each and every one of us to have an outreach to so many people out there
Yeah.
that never existed. I still remember a time when, like, if you wanted to have friends or meet people, you'd have to go to, like, to socialize somewhere and get to know them. So it's like you would never be able to have 1,000 friends on Facebook or something like this. And what happens, I think, because of it is that the possibility of kind of finding a better match for ourselves or somebody more interesting to speak to, like, it's just endless. And suddenly when you look back into your small kind of family structure, you have way more reason to be unhappy than you might have had like 20 or 30 years ago. And to me
Yeah.
it was very clear that the family kind of structure, which is basically the building block of human existence, is kind of in danger with all this technology that we're putting out there, especially on the social side, oddly enough, and that we're actually headed into a more isolated existence. So these were the two ideas that started this whole screenplay. And I was just thinking about what the world would be like in 20, 30 years from now, and I just tried to grab things from our reality. So I was thinking global warming would become more of an issue, and what would that do to the world? And I was thinking VR and AR must by that point replace the way that we're communicating right now
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
cameras and computers and stuff. It was all very kind of modeled after reality. And of course, I didn't think that we would have a kind of a test
Can you
version of that
imagine?
with Corona.
I was watching, and then I was like, James Darcy characters is in an empty office, which is
Yeah.
all the offices are empty right now. Like the kids like playing with the VRs, and there's no communication, no like touching, hugging, all this like. And I was like,
Exactly.
this is what
No, but
we're
this is the
living right
thing, you know what? We were. I finished the film completely because you know there's this thing. Maybe some of your audience doesn't know, but when you make a film, you finish it, and then you have to do this thing called deliverables. So you still have to do all sorts of different kind of formats of video and things like that, like technical stuff. I finished all the technical stuff in March. So it's
now.
like we literally we finished the film and then this thing just started and then I finished the technical part of it. And then we were gonna try and do some sort of a festival run, but like when this thing hit, like there was it became clear. I remember we were still thinking about maybe submitting the film to Cannes or whatever, and it's like Cannes is not gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen now
Yeah.
physically. And yet the film felt very kind of might be timelier than we even thought. So then we were like, let's try and show it to some buyers or whatnot. But none of us, even in April, thought that we would still be having this kind of
Situation
experiencing
right
this in
now.
September. You know,
Yeah.
I thought by September it would be long gone. Everybody would forget that it happened, but it's just getting worse and worse. It's like
Yeah. No
I'm not
Halloween,
happy
no,
about it, of
no
course, but it's
nothing.
interesting.
Yeah. What was like the biggest challenge for you to bring the whole movie together?
I think for me, the biggest thing was that I knew that for the film to have the impact that I wanted, I had to capture two things with his character. One was the sense of claustrophobia and isolation that he's going through, and the second thing was the increasing mania that he's going through, like some sort of a like he's kind of losing control. And both of these things in cinematic terms are very challenging because what ends up happening is you need to have a lot of verbiage in the film to because that's what mania is to people that have never seen it or like you know it's like a person starting to have thoughts on like 10,000 rpm or something, so then like it all comes out without stop in the way that they interact with the world. And of course the claustrophobia or the isolation meant that we had to shoot a lot of scenes more interior than exterior, more kind of like in isolation than with other people there. So how do you make that cinematically engaging and interesting while also true to the concept? So I think that was a very challenging thing in terms of the balance of it. um, I think working with James, who was like the most amazing collaborator to
Yeah, I
make
was
all
gonna
the
ask
scenes.
that about him. Like,
Yeah, no, he's just like words cannot describe. Like as a filmmaker, if there are filmmakers out there that listen to this, it's like we all know what it is to work with certain actors, the certain kind of experiences you can go through. And this guy was every bit kind of a brother in arms in this entire experience from the prep even. Like he allowed me to have time with him to kind of read the entire script and to go over some scenes and to kind of just discuss all of our ideas and interpretation of what's going on over a cup of coffee in his apartment in London, as opposed to doing it in the confines of the set. We got to rehearse scenes with Anna. The scenes between them. I had the chance to rehearse,
wow, it's
which was
awesome.
it's a fantastic thing. I mean, again, some of it is the art of theater that is kind of lost. And obviously the without kind of ruining it for your audience, but like the climactic scene of the film, that one had to be rehearsed to the T because there's no other way to do it.
Yeah.
So there were many little challenges, but I felt pretty comfortable. I mean, it was my third film, and I wouldn't attempt it as my first film, but as my third film, I felt pretty comfortable doing this.
No, but I think it came out really good. Like especially like the outside, the sense, like the red looks like LA weeks ago, weeks ago
Yeah,
when
no, I
we
mean,
had the
thank you so
fires.
much. I felt, with the outside world, and again, that wasn't even a budgetary thing or anything like that. It's like I had producers who asked me, "Don't you want to do like?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to do like drone shots for this movie." And like, this is not the movie I'm making. The movie is not about showing you Los Angeles in 2048 from a bird's eye view and everything is ruined and like this is not what the film is about. It's about the human experience going through this kind of transformation of the universe around them. So I really wanted to keep everything a little bit kind of more focused on the character throughout. And even you get a glimpse of the universe outside, but most of the feeling of the universe outside is an internal thing, which is kind of like when you talk about LA right now, is like we hear about those
Yeah.
fires, but most of us are not really seeing the fires from our windows or whatever. Like we just know about them, we smell them,
Yeah.
we see them on TV.
There was like a week that we stay like was like darker. We
Yeah,
can barely see the
and the
sun. I was
sun
like, oh
looked,
my God.
and the sun looked just ill, like just sick, like the planet
Yeah.
is sick. But again, um, I'm not necessarily anti-technology. I'm not necessarily super spiritual or anything like that. I think everything has to be done kind of in a healthy measure in life. I think that's where the commentary is. But like to me, if you want to talk about what's going on right now, is like again, there's this sense of literally the universe telling us, hey, we need a timeout here. Like
Yeah.
the whole planet needs a timeout. That's what's happening right now. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a timeout for everybody, for us as a human being, the way that we treat ourselves, the way that we treat the others, and the way that we treat the environment. I think it's a timeout for everything. Like, look, stop it, what you're doing. You
yeah.
need
I
to
mean,
rethink.
you still have a fighting chance, but you better wake up. You know, this is
Yeah, yeah.
happening.
No, exactly. There is this like this because the movie, like the you're talking about the human being, you're talking about the outside. There is different issues going on, like the health insurance, and every how did you balance all these little issues? Like,
You know what I've done is like I literally I everything in the movie which we can talk about even individually comes from where we are right now. So it's like every little thing that I've done, I was just looking around me, trying to see where things are, and then because I wanted the film to be satirical. I didn't want it to be like completely bleak and kind of, you know, I wanted a little bit of sense of humor in that. So I just exaggerated a lot of things that I see around me. So for instance, you know, even this issue in terms of the insurance and stuff, it is true that people are in the West are having less and less children, you know, like, so that I was thinking like, if that continues, what kind of an incentive would the government try to give you, because you actually need to procreate, you know, for our species to continue to exist. I was thinking about this whole thing like with the internet. Nobody's ever talking about it, but the internet is rumored to have 70% of its traffic like is sex related. So that cannot just be a few people that are doing this. Everyone is on the same but this is a taboo. Nobody's mentioning this. Nobody's talking about it. I mean, you know, and we
but
live
it's
in times
happening.
where the president is rumored to have had an affair with a porn star. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you think about all these things that the way we kind of perceive ourselves or present ourselves and the way we really are, which is everything the film is about. A lot of these things that I'm doing in the movie are this kind of like funny mirrors looking into the future a little bit and showing you something that already exists, you know. So in the film, the kids are lost into this. In our world, they're lost into the iPhones and the tablets right
Yeah,
now. So it's like it's not that far off from the reality the way I saw it. Chips exist. I don't know if you know, but like
yeah,
you could already have a chip implant. Like that's a real thing. And cloning it has actually been possible for the better part of the last 3 decades. It's just nobody knows if and how much usage they're making. They're making for it. My claim in the film is it's kind of a moot point right now, because if we just clone ourselves, we're not necessarily going to get better. So it's like
yeah,
it's about
yeah. But
improvement. It's like,
it's incredible, like the way even now we still have. I think they are watching us in a way because they know my preferences on my social
yeah,
media, all the ads, everything that I say. Sometimes I'm not just said something and then suddenly appears an ad. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, like,
but you
and
understand, you know, the funny thing about all this is a great thing you've just raised. This is the funny thing about all this. So people are walking around and they say they are hearing they, but what they don't understand, which is the scariest part to me, it's not they. There's no people out there. It's a computer algorithm that is catching those catchphrases. It's not like there are people sitting there with computers manipulating you. It's like we're surrendering our freedom to algorithms. So
Yeah.
so what's spying on you is a mega computer in the cloud. What's spying on you is not little people sitting somewhere. And then, you know, we increasingly are making those mega computers smarter and smarter and smarter, you know, at what, to the point that they're already kind of controlling your life right now, but we've created them. So it's like the Frankenstein story in a way.
Yeah.
And everybody's passing the kind of the puck to somebody else, right? Like nobody wants to take ownership or responsibility about trying to stop this thing from happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's something interesting about us as humans in general. You know, we're all driving cars. Some of us are driving electric cars and stuff like that, but a lot of us need to get to work and need to afford the vehicles that we're driving, whatever. And until the government tells us that you cannot put fuel in your cars anymore, we're going to continue driving those cars, you know, because
Yeah.
the law says you can. So why not, you know?
Yeah, it's incredible. It goes on and on. If you start
Yeah,
thinking,
and I think for me, the film, what I love about this movie, and I'm kind of, you know, proud of in a way, is that really it is so much centered on a character, on a human being, and on the different facets of one human being. You know, the image of himself in his own eyes, the man he truly is, the man that society looks at him and thinks he is, and the kind of best version of himself that he might be. Probably never will attain it, but like could have been or whatever. And through that, all these basket of issues that deal with humanity and where we are, I think makes a lot of sense because it ties all back to that same thing, which is the human experience.
but are you already thinking your next project?
Yeah, I have a couple of films I'm attached to direct that I've already written myself. Both are kind of in an advanced financial state. So one of the, and again, they couldn't be more different than one another, and from each and every one of the films that I've done before. So one is in the psychological thriller, I would say, even, you know, I wouldn't call it horror, but psychological thriller genre, which is kind of my first attempt in that genre. And again, it has a basket of, I think, topical subjects coupled in it, but within the realm of that kind of genre play. And another one is a film that is based on a true story from the 80s, that of following a spy story from my home country of Israel, that has a big meanings about, you know, the our national identity and stuff like that. So this is another dear project to my heart. I've never done anything in my country. I've always been here, so it's something I'm working on as well.
Yeah, that's cool. You going to the past now.
Yeah,
I'm curious
exactly.
to see how you're gonna handle that. Yeah, that's
Yeah, me
awesome.
too. That
Yeah,
makes two of us.
yeah, that's awesome. Guy, thank you so much for your time. You know, it was a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope everybody likes the movie. I like it a lot. I
Thank you
think
so
that
much.
touching a lot of like little little topics, little stuff that happen in our life, and then we need to be very careful, like
Well,
watch
thank you
ourselves.
so much, and thank you for the time and all the kind
Of
words and
course.
the nice questions. And hopefully, we get to talk again on the next one.
Of course. I'll be waiting for your next projects.
Okay,
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
If you like this video, don't forget to comment, to like, and subscribe to our channel right here.